Okay, it looks like we have all the board members present, and Sarah Lang from BDCC to give us a presentation. So we'll call the meeting to order at 6:02. I would entertain a motion to accept the minutes from the December 8th board meeting and the special board meeting on December 16th, or budget meeting, excuse me.
Oh,
So moved.
Sherwood,
Second.
there's actually also the special budget meeting on December 8th. So the regular select board, special select board, and
Okay, that's good.
the December 16th.
Okay, let me revitalize that so we get it. Regular board meeting on the 8th, the budget meeting on the 8th, and the special budget meeting on the 16th.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion about those? Been moved and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, abstentions? All right, those are taken care of. So we have Sarah Lang here under public presentations, or members of the public, to give us a presentation about the SeVeds program. Sarah, go ahead.
Thank you so much. How much time do I have, just so keep it to schedule?
15, 20 minutes and be fine. If it's a little bit either side of that, I'd
Great.
be okay.
All right, be careful what you ask for. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you so much, Carla. Thank you so much for, scheduling with me. I know we had a lot of back and forth, so I'm happy to be able to be here. So my name is Sarah Lang. I work as a project manager at the Brattleboro Development Credit Corporation. We are the regional development corporation for the Windham region. I won't dive too much into that because I know we presented in years past, so I am assuming you have a general sense of what we do. We are the boots on the ground economic development and workforce development for the region. Today, what I want to do is just give you an update on our programs and services that we provide, as well as talk to you about our funding. So there's BDCC and then there's SeVeds, the Southeastern Vermont Economic Development Strategies. SeVeds is our sister organization, and we partner together to do the economic development work in the Windham region. SeVeds you can kind of think of as like a think tank. They do the long-term planning. They're responsible for our comprehensive economic development strategy, which is our 5-year plan that we BDCC works from to create our programs and services for the region. So obviously this has been a really tough year for everyone in all different types of capacity. I do want to touch on some of the pandemic response that we have been doing in 2020, just so you're aware of that. I would say at least half of our staff people that run full-time programs were pivoted to pandemic response when the pandemic hit in March. So their full-time jobs got put on hold and they were entirely focused on responding to businesses and their needs in this time. We have a lot of experience in disaster response. We were really instrumental in recovery for Tropical Storm Irene, as well as the closure of the VY nuclear plant. So luckily, I guess, I don't know if that's the right word, we have experience in that type of stuff, and that really helped shape what we did in 2020. Just sort of a general overview of some data points. There were 386 businesses in the Windham region that received liaison support from our staff people. We helped them apply for federal and state relief, depending on their needs. Another program that we were instrumental in running was the Restart Vermont Technical Assistance Program. There were 143 Windham region businesses that received assistance through that. This program, if you're not aware of it, You could sign up as a vendor or as a business in need and essentially get up to $4,000 in services for free. So services like architectural services or graphic design services that was paid for through this relief money. And we were able to pay businesses to do the services, and businesses here were receiving those services. So that was a really successful program here. As far as our sort of general programming that we have been doing for years, I just want to touch on a few of those sort of highlights. I personally run the Southern Vermont Economy Project. This is a project funded by the USDA Rural Development. Its essential purpose is to help build capacity within municipalities and nonprofits around economic development. And one of the instrumental things that we've been running in 2020 is our project development series. So it's a series of 4 workshops: project stewardship, financial management for projects, project management, and grant writing. And these were put on throughout the year. The most recent one was in November, and it was our grant writing workshop. We had about 30 people on that. It was a 3-day workshop. We brought in virtually, obviously, a grant writer instructor. And then on the last day, we had some one-on-one. We paired grant writers, whether they're municipalities or nonprofits, with funders and grant writers to sort of help troubleshoot some of the issues they were having. Our Pipelines and Pathways program, which I feel like Townshend is pretty aware of because we work pretty heavily with Leland and Gray. Within the 2019-2020 school year, we worked with 100 of Leland and Gray students. And this fall, we are launching our Flexible Pathways program. Flexible Pathways essentially targets seniors, whether it's college bound or workforce bound. A big focus on job readiness skills like attendance, punctuality, attitude, professional communication. We teach them about resumes and cover letters and thank you notes. The students that participate in that program are guaranteed an informational interview with an employer of their choice in the region. Students who complete the program to their work-based learning coordinators and P3's rigorous standards receive a Wyndham Work Ready micro-credential. And then one outstanding senior receives a $500 scholarship for any work or education related needs. We're really proud of this program. It started a few years ago, and I really felt like spring 2020, it was like, really getting out there, and then obviously the pandemic happened. So, a lot of our programs have really had to shift in this time. We've obviously been doing many things virtually, and it's been a learning process, but in some ways, I feel like we're reaching more people with our programs and services through this platform. It obviously doesn't replace meeting in person, but it is working, if that's any solace. Another thing that we do a lot of, and we've really been ramping up recently, is recruitment and retention. Things that fall under that are, our Southern Vermont Young Professionals, but we've also just launched the Southern Vermont Welcome Wagon chapter. This is the Vermont Welcome Wagon sort of started up in Chittenden. They have a fully volunteer leadership team, and basically regions can sign on as chapters. And the concept is essentially people who live here can sign up as hosts, and then new people who have recently moved here can sign up as newcomers. And what we do is just pair them. Everyone knows, especially in small communities, how valuable that personal connection is. And we're trying to just make that easier for newcomers, especially because we see that as a big reason of why people move here and then stay here, is because they make those connections locally and within their communities. So that's been really fun to get off the ground and is pretty successful thus far. Lastly, we do a lot of work with small businesses and startups. We have our Instigate program, which sort of helps businesses in that startup phase. But we actually recently just launched our Regenerate program, which is essentially for succession planning. So it can take about 3 to 5 years to prepare a business for a successful succession. Oftentimes people, say, hey, I want to do it next year. And that really doesn't prepare them for a successful succession or transition if they want to sell it. So we started this program. I think our first portion of this was, I want to say last week or maybe the week before. And we've actually, there was a Townshend business that did participate in that program. And we're also looking at not only helping current business owners think about long-term and how they want to, succeed from the business, but also connecting people who are interested in buying those businesses so they don't just completely go away. They're just taken up by a new owner who is interested in that. I believe that's kind of it as far as updates. I'm happy to answer questions, maybe dig a little deeper if you're interested. And the other thing I want to touch on before we get to questions is our funding. So SeVeds asks all 27 towns in our region for funding at $3 a person. Last year we had 16 towns fund us, which essentially represents about 82% of the Windham region population. It's up to each town whether or not they want to fund us, and we provide services and programs regardless. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention. So I will end there and happy to answer any questions.
Does anybody have any questions for Sarah?
Yes, I'll ask one, Sherwood.
Go ahead.
Sarah, thank you for coming and calling in this evening. My question is in regards to high school students during
Yes.
COVID-19. How are you finding interacting and supporting the high school students and seniors during this difficult period?
Yeah, great question. So our Pipelines and Pathways program is run by Christy Beatty. She, I think of all of us has had the toughest job, trying to really actively engage students virtually. When I was speaking with her today to just sort of get a feel of, what her interaction has been in Townshend and with Leland and Gray, she has been really surprised at the enthusiasm, honestly, of the students. I think they're really getting a handle for this virtual platform. It's not ideal, but I think they're understanding that, this is a great opportunity to still be able to learn and connect, just, unfortunately, from your own home as opposed to being in school. And so there was definitely, I would say, about 5 or 6 months of 2020 where it was just like, the P3 kind of did a dead stop. We had to sort of rethink the whole thing. She works really closely with teachers and guidance counselors at each of the 4 high schools, and they were really able to put something together that is serving the students. And I think part of it really was, I can't even imagine being a teacher during all of this, and I think part of it was making sure that teachers kind of had a handle on their situation before we sort of came back with those the services that we provide for the students. So once she's been able to get back into the schools, it's gone really smooth.
Okay, any other questions for Sarah? Okay, I guess we're all set. Sarah, thank you.
Wonderful.
And we'll have Carla reach out. I think the best mechanism, and I may be wrong at this, but I think the best mechanism to offer the voters a chance to fund the program is through the God, I lost the word I'm trying to think of.
Social services?
Social services or articles. Thanks, Steve. Depending on how much money you're talking about. And I'll have Carla reach out to you to see what you're thinking about, and then we'll see what the best format to present that to the voters is.
Great. I really appreciate that. And, just as far as other towns, every town sort of does it differently. Some towns put us directly in their general budget. Some towns put us in their social service articles. Some towns put us as a separate article. So it's really whatever you're comfortable with. I totally agree, like having the voters vote on it, I think is very important. And just as far as the amount, it's $3 a person. So that equates to $3,696 for Townsend based on 1,230 population. So,
Okay.
but I can get those numbers to Carla.
Okay, if you would, please, and then, like I said, we can go from there to see how to present that to the voters.
Wonderful. That would be great. And if any other questions come up, feel free to reach out to me. If I'm not the person, I will put you in touch with who the person is and help in any way you need. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Sarah.
Sarah.
Happy holidays.
Happy
To you
holidays.
also.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, so we'll move on to warrants. Rob, are you set for that?
All set.
Okay, go for it.
All right. I'd make a motion to pay warrants. First one being number 1, payroll, in the amount of $11,755.81. Second one being payroll tax in the amount of $5,153.23. Third one being general fund in the amount of $35,922.08. Fourth one being highway in the amount of $4,511.88. And the last one, number 5, being equipment in the amount of $490.25 for a total of $57,833.25.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been a motion and a second. All the, on to discussion. Is there any discussion about warrants 1 through 5? Hearing none, I would ask for a vote. Everybody that's in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Carried. Okay. Highway report. Steve, go right ahead.
A year or so ago, the select board opted to participate in a class action lawsuit in regards to International's Max Force 11 and 13 diesel engine, which directly affected truck number T9, which we no longer own. Kathy handed that paperwork off to me. It was submitted. I received a notice from them last week asking for additional information to prove the day it was purchased and to prove the day it was sold, so they knew that the time that we owned the vehicle. I was able to provide that information, and it was submitted last Thursday. So that class action lawsuit is still moving forward. If we get the award, what it means for the town of Townsend is a one-time payment of $2,500 for the issues that we dealt with over the years in regards to emission problems with that particular breed of engine. The last 4 working days have been associated with the past storm that we had on last Thursday. This week, Monday and Tuesday, we've been doing some cleanup downtown, center of town with the sidewalks aside from the roads. We removed all the snow this morning. We've been removing snow from intersections. And yesterday and today, we've been covering our routes with the loader and the backhoe to make some cutouts in the snowbanks in anticipation of some heavy rain that's forecasted between Thursday night and early Friday morning. So we've been preparing for that storm now. And the only snow I have left to remove tomorrow morning is a little bit of snow behind the library, and we'll have everything cleaned up at that point. We did not have any breakages during that snowstorm. Visibility was terrible. It was hard to see. Being the first storm of the season, we didn't have any snowbanks to help us tell us where the edges of the roads were. So we just took our time and we got through the storm. I felt that our overtime was very light considering the amount of snow that we did have. So I'm happy to say that we got through it without any accidents or breakdowns.
Yay.
Okay. Was that all we had to deal with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll move on. Let's see to the treasurer's report. If I can get it up in front of me here. Let's see here. There we go. It says in the municipal investment fund, there's $916,233.45, and the checking account maintains a balance of $30,000. We have no correspondence. Old business. I think I'm going to knock off B and C first because A is going to take just a minute to go over and explain. The FY22 budget in your packets, or in your packets and in the email that was sent out, there's a budget sheet of all of the budget items and where they stand. Most of these we have cleared through the process. There's still a few to just stamp, basically. So my idea with this is that I provide it to you tonight. We'll schedule a budget meeting for, I'm thinking, Wednesday the 6th, just to address any concerns or any issues that you see is a problem in these sheets. And then by the next select board meeting, we'll present it and wrap the thing up, sign off on it, get it ready for town meeting. If anybody else has any other ideas, go ahead and let me know. But that's my idea at this point. If you're good with that, we'll move on to the health report. Oh yes, does the 6th for everybody, it's Wednesday the 6th, work if we're gonna have this, and I don't imagine that it'll be much more than a half an hour, just going through it unless there's major holes found. Does the 6th sound good for a budget meeting?
Yes.
Yep.
6 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock on the 6th. Let's see.
New year 2021.
Yeah, I'll be glad to see 2021. The health report. There's a draft letter to go out. I believe that's in the packet. We'll send it to this guy, or we don't expect to get anything. There's another option to get in touch with our attorneys and make sure we're clear to clean the mess up ourselves, and then put a lien on the property for the cost of the cleanup. That is an option that we'd have to go through the attorney, but the hazmat thing didn't go anywhere unless there's actual chemicals on the property that are leaching, and with the environmental protection people, who knows how long it would take for them to get this dealt with. But it is definitely an option to put a lien against the property for him to clean this up. Any questions about that? Any concerns with that way of doing things?
No, but that snow's buried that stuff. God only knows what it'll be like when you go to clean it up.
Yeah, we may be stuck until spring with that, or just have to get the lawyer's opinion next. But if we get this letter out and at least get the legal process going,
Right.
when we move it, he's going to pay us one way or the other. He's going to have to pay us one way or the other. Okay, COVID-19 in town meeting. I don't really need to go over much of anything with COVID-19 specifically, other than there has been a few changes today that were announced today for people to meet and commingle a little around Christmas. It's a special provision that allows it through the first week of January, basically relaxing it a little bit. Some of the sports things were relaxed a little bit. I'm sure it's been covered on the news, but the biggest thing about this is town meeting. Town meeting is going to require us to go to an Australian ballot. There won't be any floor votes. There won't be any public congregation of town meeting. It's all to do with Australian ballot. Under the provisions of Act 162, it allows for the municipal legislative body, us, to make the decision for this town meeting. It's a one-time deal. If after this, members of the public want to see Australian ballot at every town meeting, they can propose it from the floor of the next one that's done that way, and then the following year it can move forward. But because of the COVID issues and everything around it, under Act 62, the legislature has granted us the provision to hold town meeting basically using Australian ballot. Just for a little bit of background, when this all started to happen, because it was going to be between meetings and things needed to start happening quickly, I called a meeting of a working group for emergency management. And that working group is people on the Board of Civil Authority, members of the public. There was town clerk was there, and it was all held by Zoom last week. And the consensus of all of the people involved were that we move forward with Australian ballot because we have time constraints. If COVID went away today, that would be great. If the antivirus serum was given to everybody in October and everybody was clear of it, we could move forward as usual, but that's not going to happen. It will be spring, maybe early summer, before the general population actually sees this antivirus based on their rollout. And then you have anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks before it shows up as clear, gives you the antibodies you need. So potential we're looking at this is through next October. They're saying July, but they keep pushing it back. The original estimate was October of next year. And so it's going to be way in advance of what we can do for town meeting. The other thing is it puts tremendous deadline pressure on us to go any further down the road of thinking that we would be able to do this in a public forum. So basically what this means is that we have a motion tonight that we move to Australian ballot to cover officer, town officials elections, to cover any of the normal things that occur at town meeting. It'll be a yes and no vote on the articles. We must have a virtual, basically what was pre-town meeting, but now they're calling hearings. I envision that will happen in a couple of different ways, but the clock is ticking. Also, under the provisions of Act 162, anyone who wishes to run for office, town official's office, has to fill out their letter of consent to be put on the ballot no later than January 25th and submit that to the town clerk. So if you want to run for a post in town, you go into the town clerk's office, she'll give you the form, fill it out, and that's all you have to do. There's no signature collections. Of course, there's no vote from the floor, and polling for town meeting will open just like they did in the general election. We'll divide the hall up. We'll have people coming in and casting paper ballots, and we'll be having mail-in ballots if people so choose to do that. So to move that thing forward, I guess I can make the motion. I would make the motion that we move the town for town meeting 2021 to the Australian ballot.
So moved.
So moved. Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay. All those do we have any further discussion or questions, I should say? Any concerns? I
A lot
will.
of people going to be
Go ahead.
upset probably. You can't debate about the expenses, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, unfortunately, Irv, it is. We're going to give them the opportunity to voice their concerns and get clarification. And I'm hoping to do it in 2 or 3 meetings. We have to have these quote unquote hearings within 10 days of town meeting. So if we have them, in 3 different meetings, dividing up, say, the alphabet of registered voters, and just ask them to appear when their name is, when their end initial is on the list to appear, they'll get the chance to say whatever it is they want to say. And ultimately they'll vote yes or they'll vote no. And if not, we'll have to go into special meeting. So, okay, with that, all those in favor of moving the town to Australian ballot for the 2021 town meeting, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. We will do that. We'll move that forward into Australian ballot. I will make sure that each of you get noticed when we have the next working meeting. If you want to pop in, probably going to be, I think we set it for like the 30th, but I'll let you know. And it's just to work out some of the details of what's going on. Anything else on that? Okay. New business. Personnel policy revisions. I believe you got today this in the email or packet, but we discussed.
Nobody got it but you, Sherwood.
Nobody got it? Okay.
Nope.
We discussed at one of the budget meetings, changing the personnel or the policy for personnel to add 2 float days to the 40-hour work week people. The float days would be, they'd be in lieu of vacation days. You must use these 2 days in full 8-hour blocks. So you can't take a half a day here and a half a day there. You have to use those before the end of the fiscal year. So by July 1st, you start all over again. June 30th, they're gone if you don't use them. And it's 2 8-hour blocks. Let's see here. Got to find the right place here on this policy. Well, I just explained pretty much all what I said to you. Is that the understanding that we came out of that meeting? And we're ready to roll that out as effective the 1st of July.
Steve, what's your feeling? You think that you and your guys are satisfactory with that?
I say yes.
Okay. Do you want to vote on this?
In which I will amend it in the personnel policy, and it has to be posted for 30 days before it can be adopted.
Okay. All right. So I guess what we'll do is call for a vote on this and make a motion for addition of 2 floating holidays to be added to the personnel policy for 40-hour-a-week people, employees. They must use it within the fiscal year. It must be used in 8-hour blocks, and there is no carryover.
Should a 40-hour employee, I mean, should we clarify that just because somebody had worked 40 hours one week doesn't qualify them as a 40-hour employee, or do we?
But no, that's a good point. It should be full-time regular employees.
It does
40
state
hours a
that
week?
under, it's full-time non-exempt employees specifically, which is the highway department. The only people in the town that are considered full-time non-exempt employees. Because they're hourly.
Do you think that makes it, Rob, or
Yes.
would you like to see it clearer?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, all right. So I'd entertain a motion to move the personnel policy forward.
So moved.
And do we have a second?
Yes.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
Okay. So carried. We also have Grace Cottage is requesting permission. What's that?
No, nothing, Sherwood,
I
nothing.
heard. Okay, okay. Grace Cottage is requesting permission to put up solar power, I guess solar powered speed limit signs that flash at 15 miles an hour over the limit, if I read the letter.
Yeah, but that, Sherwood,
Yes, sir.
that speed limit by that, this letter that came from Grace Cottage, they said 25 miles an hour, but that speed limit was done by the state is 30 miles an hour.
Okay. All right.
That state traffic study committee was done by the state and stuff, and it was 30.
Okay. I kind of think a radar sign that flashes at 15 miles an hour over the limit is a kind of a waste for that stretch of territory, but if that's what they want to pay for.
Yeah, well, that one just goes blank according to this.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right, Irv. I think it needs to be clarified with this person of what the actual speed limit is, because that's state highway, correct?
No, that's a town road.
Is it town road?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But I'll talk to Scott and let him know that it's 30 miles an hour, not 25.
I'm not
Yeah.
really interested in seeing a flashing sign that's down there telling anybody anything. If they want to buy a 30-mile-an-hour sign that says, hey, 30 miles an hour in this area, that's cool, but all these flashing signs and illumination and everything is kind of a little bit overkill for Townshend, Vermont, I think.
I don't think I disagree with you. I mean, 15 miles an hour over the speed limit. I've run radar there, and I've a lot of times gotten less than 30, you know, for the majority of it. I don't imagine that every once in a while there isn't a problem, but.
And I'm not even opposed to radar or whatever, but I just think these flashing signs that we have in every one of these villages is just, it looks like crap. And I'm not interested in seeing it. And I don't think a lot of people are.
Okay.
If they want, and I'm not opposed to them putting up, you know, literature that says, you know, this is what the speed limit is. But
Yep.
first of all, they're asking for the speed limit that's not even the speed limit.
Mm.
And I just think that we get into the rabbit hole again, where down the road we'll end up kicking ourselves in the rear end with all this signage and, or not signage, but flashing signs and stuff carrying on about what people are doing in the road.
I can, from personal experience, those things can be distracting if you're talking about, you know, people crossing the road and you're looking at something blinking and flashing and not paying attention.
Well, first of all, you go down there, there's people jaywalking, there's people everywhere. It's like, it's not really a you know, everybody's in coordination with whatever the signs say and where the crosswalks are and where the parking is and any of it. So.
Anybody else have any comment about this?
No, I agree with Irv and Rob.
Irv, if you want to talk to Scott, I mean, and just tell him that we're really not in favor of flashing signs, but if they want to put up a legal speed limit sign, 30 miles an hour, they're welcome to.
Yeah, but you've got them scattered all the way from Route 30 out through there that says 30 miles an hour on the right-hand side. And you've got them going south from this way.
Yeah.
So 2 more reminders shouldn't be a problem.
So,
Yeah, I guess that's the way to handle it. I mean, you can, if you don't mind talking to Scott to resolve this, Irv, you can just
All
tell
right.
them that the board is not in favor of flashing signs, and if they want to put up the 30-mile-an-hour signs, they're welcome to it.
okay, that's
Okay.
what I'll tell it.
All right. Thank you, Irv.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, that was the end of what we had to do tonight. I have a listing of the next meeting for January 12th at 6 p.m. Our budget meeting, our special budget meeting will be January 6th at 6 p.m. And I will let you know about the working group meeting over town meeting. If you want to come into it, it's totally up to you. If we get 3 members, we're going to have to, you know, we'll have a quorum where we'll have to deal with that. But you're welcome to come and give your opinions about what we do and how we move forward with that.
Really quickly, Sherwood.
Yep, go ahead.
I just wanted to bring up, Anita approved the elected officer positions that were open that I
Okay.
would like to post because they have to be, you know, brought into Anita to have registered by the 25th.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that
Yeah,
will give us a month if you, I think everybody has a copy.
Yeah, it's in the packet. But I'll just quickly go through. We need a town clerk, a treasurer, a school district treasurer, the town moderator, members of the select board. We need listers, 3 listers, delinquent tax collector, first and second constable, grand juror, town agent, library trustees, and cemetery commission. We'll post these for the public. And BCTV, I've talked to Rich about putting a banner across our meetings, giving the deadline. So for this type of stuff, so that we can start notifying the public, since we're going to move forward with Australian ballots.
Okay.
Does anybody have anything else to bring up, or
Yes.
go ahead, Eric.
Steve. No, that at one time we was going to sell that John Deere sidewalk tractor. It was broke down.
Yep.
And I think we had it, according to the way I read the statutes, that you have to advertise it somewhere besides just sticking a sign up. In other words, you have to put an ad in the paper or something that's going to be for sale. And I think we ought to do it because nothing has happened, and that way,
Putting it out for a public bidder.
yeah, put it out to public bid.
Okay.
Because I know we had to run into that same problem when we had some property for sale that had been taken by taxes, and it had to be notified in the paper and stuff for public bid. And that's why, same with the tax sales, they have to be in the paper.
That's a good idea to part ways with it.
Okay.
Then that way, if we don't get any bids, right, all right, but if it's been advertised, then we can sell it so everybody knows about it.
I
Okay.
can put it in the front porch forum along with putting out notices at the normal places.
It's up to the board, but that's what I think. We ought to advertise it, and then if somebody comes up with a price,
Is that a
nobody
motion,
comes up
Irv?
with what else? Huh?
Is that a motion?
Yep.
Okay. We have a motion to advertise the tractor
So
for
moved.
sale. Moved, second? Okay,
Second.
moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
okay. Carla, go ahead and post it, and let's see if we can get rid of that thing.
Okay.
Second, my only one question would be, what are you going to advertise it for sale for?
I don't think it's for sale. I think it's out for bid.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
but I think we said before a minimum bid of 500 on it.
All
That's
right.
what we did the last time we talked about this.
Okay,
I'll go back and look at the minutes because it has all the issues and stuff.
Yeah, that was
I shouldn't say
right.
issues, all the things that are with it. I should say.
yeah, I
'cause we
remember
just-
we talked about it, so there should be a record of it somewhere.
Yeah, because I know I think 2 snowboards and lawnmower and
Okay. Does anybody have anything else?
Yes, I would just like to say that Grace Cottage has started giving the COVID vaccine this week. I know some of the doctors have been giving it already, and then some of the nurses are on lists for tomorrow. So it has reached Townsend.
Yay.
Townsend's one of the only places that has a freezer built into the place that can maintain it, from what I understand. Brattleboro Memorial Hospital doesn't have this freezer, but Townsend does, or Grace Cottage does. So
Some forethought.
it's interesting. Okay, so the only thing I have, the last thing I have is it's our last meeting of the year, and I'd like to thank the employees, the elected officials, and the people that help make this town run the way it does and as best as it can do. And I hope that we have seen the worst of a bad year and we can move on to something better next year.
hopefully.
I'd also like to thank the members of the board helping me get through this first bit as chair, and hopefully next year we can get some more positive things done. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Sherwood.
Thank you,
Merry
sir.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yep, same here.
Oh
Merry
God, it's in 3 days.
If we have nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Aye.
take care now.
We'll see you.
Aye.
See you
Good night,
later.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.